what would happen if someone forgot to bring the goalposts? And what would happen if the timekeepers forgot to turn up? And what would happen if the coaches didn't turn up on the sideline? But the team ran onto the field, and the people in the bleachers were waiting for the game to commence. But for however long takes for that game to happen, all they did was these players ran around the field. They didn't know how to score, they had no feedback on their game, and they didn't know when the game was over. So what were they at the end of all that? Tired, frustrated, angry, and unaccomplished. That's why the title of what I want to share with you today is the difference between a manager and a coach's purpose. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. Aristotle said that. He was born in 384 BC. Unfortunately, so many of us are bad learners. During COVID, we talked about the Great Resignation. I wrote about what I called the Great Escape. And why I'm talking about that today is that we all have a job to do. And it's become very clear to me that this job is so important if we're going to continue to build and grow cultures in organizations. Because back in the middle of COVID, people were not resigning. They were escaping from toxic cultures. They said, I'm not putting up with this anymore. My life has been turned upside down, and you want me to go into wherever I have to go to work and take a fatal beating every day from Al, the soul-sucking leader? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to escape. And the thing that's really concerning me is we're struggling with that right now because we're struggling to get people back into a work environment. Now, we did learn that there's a couple of days a week you probably don't need to go to the office. Why would you want to drive to the office to sit in front of a computer screen? But there are days in the week when we have to be connected because connection is what's important to us as human beings. And why aren't people going back to offices? Because they're saying, I'm not going back to that toxic culture where I got beat up every day and I wasn't treated with respect and dignity. I'd prefer to stay home. I kind of like it here. The thing that's sad about that is when people get put in solitary confinement in jail for punishment, a lot of them want to end up killing themselves. So we have a job to do. And what I want to share with you today is what we can do as great coaches to make this work. The first thing we want to do is we want to change what we call things. Words really do matter. So let's take the word manager and throw it out. Why don't we talk about a coach or a mentor or a leader? Let's take the word policies and kick policies out the door, and why don't we call them guidelines? We don't want a policy people. We want to give them guidelines that help them play better. And let's forget about rules, and let's have values in an organization that not only protect people, but set them free. I love thinking about coaches, and I love this statement by Adam Grant. It's easy to be a critic or a cheerleader. It's harder to be a coach. A critic sees your weaknesses and attacks your worst self. A leader sees your strengths and celebrates your best self. A coach sees your potential and helps you become a better version of yourself. So every one of us, when we go into our place of businesses every day, have a responsibility. And our responsibility is to help people step into the best version of their personal self.